Today, April 23rd, the alleged date of both birth and death of William Shakespeare, was decided by UNESCO in 1995 for the first time to be World Book Day. Today, take the occasion to read something. Since we are currently living in a different reality, I cannot advise you to visit your local bookstore or library, but thankfully we live in the digital era. With one click, you can have any book arriving in your mailbox or downloaded onto an e-reader or even in your iPod to listen to while doing houseworks, exercise, cooking, or simply relaxing. No, I am not about to start announcing Audible as my sponsor for this video, although that would be neat, so hey Amazon, give me a call. But after encouraging you to pick up a book, gift one, borrow one, and just abandon yourself to it, I will instead talk about 5 tomes you should never lay your eyes upon, as it may cost you your soul or even your life. The Orphans Story. The Orphans Story is an epic novel about a young boy's travels in the Spanish Empire seeking fortune, from the high society fiestas of Lima to the mephitic mines of Potosi, and goes on to witness Sir Francis Drake's attack on Puerto Rico and the sacking of Cadiz. Written between 1608 and 1615 by Martín de León Cárdenas, the novel was never actually published until 2018. It almost was on several different occasions, but the publication fell through every time because those involved kept dying under mysterious circumstances. The manuscript was discovered hidden deep within the archives of the Hispanic Society of America in 1965 by the Peruvian academic Belinda Palacios. When she began working on the book, colleagues warned her of a curse that was said to linger in the pages of the ancient tome. Initially, she tried to laugh it off, but she couldn't help but be deterred by the unusual deaths that surrounded the book, including horrific car accidents and sudden unexplainable illnesses. Since the date of writing, it has taken over 400 years for someone brave enough, or just lucky enough to survive, to see the project through to completion. Untitled Grimoires. In 2013, an online bookseller sold 2 mysterious handwritten and spiral-bound spell books for an astounding $13,865. The seller, upon finalization of the sale, warned that any non-believers who dare to mess around with these books will bring a deadly curse upon themselves. It is believed that a grimoire, a witch's spellbook, must be burned after the death of the witch who wrote it. These grimoires were written by a high Wiccan priestess named Persephone Adrastea Irene sometime in the early 1960s. It's thought that Irene ran her own coven and was known in her local area as someone who was to be avoided. The 2 books are reworkings of her mother's grimoire and contain a vast collection of incantations, curses, spells, and enchantments. Information on how to summon spirits, demons, and various otherworldly entities, as well as how to perform exorcisms, is all included in these pages. It is unknown if she's currently still alive or dead, but the first pages of her books hold a strong warning toward any readers. To those not of the craft, the reading of this book is forbidden. Proceed no further, or justice will exact a swift and terrible retribution, and you will surely suffer at the hand of the craft. The identity of the buyer and current location of the books is unknown. Codex Gigas. An entry that many know about, but is never one that ceases to amaze, the Codex Gigas, also known as the Devil's Bible, is a weighty tome that dates all the way back to the 12th century. This book weighs an amazing 165 pounds and harbors so much negative energy that it would make Stephen King pale. The Codex Gigas is said to be written by a monk referred to as Herman the Recluse, who had broken his spiritual vows. For his crime, the monk was sentenced to be walled up alive and starved to death. The night before his death, the monk began chronicling everything he knew about the human experience in a book. He had convinced the abbot that if he could create a book that encapsulated all of earthly knowledge in one night, he could live. Realizing he wouldn't have the time to finish it, he allegedly summoned Lucifer and asked him to complete the project in exchange for his soul. The book was then completed by the devil himself. It's overflowing with dark rituals and imagery, and even includes a 19-inch drawing of the devil himself and other demonic entities. Scientists who have tried to disprove this story had to admit that, as neat as it can be, someone's handwriting does change with the years that would have taken him to write this book. But his calligraphy is instead consistent throughout the entire book, only reinforcing the theory that he did complete it in a time that no man would have been able to. The Grand Grimoire. The Grand Grimoire is one of the most potent and deadly occult books in existence. Different editions date the book to 1521, 1522, 1421, or even in the early 19th century. The book is said to have been written by a man who was supposedly possessed by the devil. Therefore, it's often referred to as the Gospel of Satan. This book is full of dark incantations and can teach readers how to summon powerful demons and even become necromancers, meaning being able to raise the dead. It also details several other spells such as winning the lottery, talking to spirits, being able to make anyone you want fall in love with you, or making yourself invisible. Of course, wielding these powers comes with a great price. It's said that anyone who merely reads the Grand Grimoire is offering their soul to the devil. For this reason, the original text is considered so dangerous that it has been locked away somewhere in the Vatican's secret archives, never to be seen by anyone. Or not to be. A collection of suicide notes. The last entry is less of a creepy or cursed one, but more of a tragic and sad one. Or Not to Be is, as the title suggests, a collection of suicide notes, accompanied by a brief description of who the individual was, what their note meant, and the circumstances which led to their suicide. Some of these are by well-known individuals, including Kurt Cobain, Vincent van Gogh, Diane Arbus, Sylvia Plath, and Virginia Woolf. Also included are grievous last words from the utterly obscure, including an anonymous Siberian who wrote that "the snow will cover my footsteps," and a man who wrote "Bow wow and goodbye, Pepper" to his dog. Of particular interest in the collection are suicide notes by Dorothy Parker, who survived, and Ken Kesey, who was pulling a prank on the feds. And this marks the end of the video. If you enjoyed this reel of curious books, please let yourself be heard in the comments, leave a like and share the video around. And if you have any ideas or suggestions for another countdown, feel free to share in the comments.